Jeremiah 4:30. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, they will seek thy life. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, and when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? And pretty much this is going into this whole scenario that they got out there of these so-called cyber attacks. And this, all of this talk about cyber attacks and all of these talks about, or movies like Leave the World Behind, you know, showing a scenario that they plan on bringing in the future very soon, because it's right around the corner when the grid pretty much shuts down. And what are people really going to do? How are they going to freak out? Now, in the movie Leave the World Behind, you remember that when the grid went down, the character that Ethan Hawke played, pretty much he said he can't do anything because pretty much his whole life is wrapped up in that phone. Excuse me. And that's the reality for the world, because most people cannot function without their smartphone. And I've always said this, that the smartphone made people stupid, because back in the days we would be able to remember people's phone numbers. You'd be able to have 10, 20, 30 phone numbers stored in your head and just call them off, off the top, no problem. But now with this, because whenever you call those, especially if it's somebody you call regularly, you're constantly dialing their number. Now you just have them programmed into your phone, and you just find the name and just click on it. You don't even look at the number anymore. So eventually what happened was you can't remember any numbers. You barely can remember your own number. And then maybe one or two, maybe three numbers, and then after that, you don't remember anything else. And this is what they're doing, making people dependent on this device, so that when the grid goes down, what do you think they're going to do? Most people are going to go to these government-sponsored agencies, or, warehouses, or places that they have, they tell people to go to. And that's, how they're going to be able to gather a lot of these people up. And in these stations, they'll have, the sea-hipping stations, to where people will say, well, look, if you want your life to go back to normal, this is what you got to do. Take this device, and you will be happy. They want to set it up to where people stay at home and don't hardly go anywhere, and have everything delivered to them. This is why you had online shopping, and it's delivered to your house. This is why you have the option to pay with a credit card or pay with a debit card, so you don't have to leave the so-called comfort of your home. This is why during 2020, when they shut things down, they had the majority of people working from home, and people were enjoying that, being home with their family and not having to go and leave the house to go to work. But pretty much that so-called convenience is gonna turn into a trap, because this is where they want people at, in the corner. And this is why they're making the whole world digital, to back people into a corner. Either you accept the MOTB, which is a micro C-hip, or you get locked out and you don't eat. All right. Now I typed in, and this scripture here applied to Israel, but now it applies to Esau and the other nations, and especially Jake here in America and around the world. Because this is, this right here, this is like symbolic of Jake, back in the ancient world, them putting on the dress and the garb of the different idols they were worshiping, the different rituals they did for these idols, so on and so forth. In today's society, it's Dealing with America is, chasing that American dream, playing the part, acting the part. This is how you pretty much deck yourself with crimson and, paint your face like a woman when a woman gets decked out and puts makeup on. That's what you do when you put on this facade of the world, especially here in America. When you try to be that so-called American. All right. So let's go to here. This is April. I typed in April 8th, 2024 solar eclipse school closing. Right. And here it says, why are schools closing for the solar eclipse 2024? This is from USA Today. The move is an effort to keep students safe. But there's been many solar eclipses for many years, and never has any school or any business closed, because they were so worried about the people and the students and all this. This is all madness and BS. The main thing they said, just don't look directly into it because you could go blind, and they will give you this little thing where you pop a little hole in it, or you have these special type of glasses that you look through to be able to see the solar eclipse. But now all of a sudden, for fear of concerns of the students and so on and so forth, we're gonna close the schools and make sure that they're safe and so on and so forth. See, this is what Esau does. He sets up what you call Hegelian dialectics: problem, solution, reaction. So they produce the problem, they give you the solution, and the solution brings about a reaction, which the reaction ends up in their favor. So it says the move is in an effort to keep students safe, both protecting their eyes from harmful solar radiation and ensuring they safely arrive home as thousands of out-of-towners crowd small town streets to catch an optimal glimpse of the rare cosmic phenomena. So now, if the schools are closing, right, and they're doing it to protect the students, keep them safe, to protect their eyes from harmful solar radiation, and then it says ensuring they safely arrive home. So if they're already home, how the hell are you trying to ensure that they safely arrive home if the schools are closed? They ain't going nowhere. You see the bullshit? As thousands of out-of-towners crowd small town streets to catch an optimal glimpse of the rare cosmic phenomena, right? Because you're going to have many people, stupid, Americans going, probably going to these different states where they have, this at, and to go and view this solar eclipse, which you have many solar eclipses, which the solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and these different signs in the heavens are just that, signs. All right. The Lord gave it for a sign. When you read Genesis, the first chapter, signs, seasons, days, and years. Who can see the solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024? This upcoming eclipse will be visible from Mexico, the U.S., and Canada to an estimated 31.6 million people and will cover more densely populated areas. And what are the densely populated areas? The cities. Where you have no room. People are packed up like sardines on top of each other, and the scriptures speak against that. Let's go real quick to Isaiah. I'm not sure if that's chapter 2 or chapter 5. Let's go to chapter 5 to see if it's here. Yep. Nope. Yeah, this is it, bro. Woes for the wicked. Isaiah 5:8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place. Right. That's why they got people packed up on top of each other like sardines, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth, right? Because that's what they want. The elite of Esau and the nations want the vast majority of the world to themselves so they can go wherever they want, do whatever they want, have as much land as they want, and have people stacked up on each other like sardines in these 15-minute cities and, these high-rise buildings where they can house, thousands of people, so that they can be overcrowded, frustrated with each other, while the elite live it up. Okay? So when we move on, I typed in, why is the National Guard being deployed for the solar eclipse? Elsewhere, massive crowds are expected for the celestial event, as we just read, in these densely populated areas. So the National Guard is set there to so-called keep control. So what happened to the police? What do they get paid for? Riot police and all of that. Massive crowds are expected for the celestial event, so the National Guard is included in the plans of state emergency officials. Plans of state emergency officials. Oregon's governor, Kate Brown, authorized the state National Guard to assign soldiers to deal with the influx of visitors. But what happened to the police? What happened to the riot police, and so on and so forth? Why did they have to involve the military? Because once the military is involved and they authorize or declare martial law, which is the law of war, which means the powers that are granted to the officials of that state or the country are transferred over to the military. So how convenient is it that they already have the National Guard there and declare martial law? All right, and that was it on that. Then the next one is here, Leave the World Behind. And then notice this movie came out in 2023, right? I forget what month. October 25th, 2023. Not too long after this movie came out, all of a sudden you started having problems with the grid, started having cyber security issues, cyber attacks. Right after this movie, was made and aired. It says a family's getaway to a luxurious rental home taking an ominous turn when a cyber attack knocks out their devices and two strangers appear at their door. Okay? And the two strangers was Jake, father and daughter, and they actually lived there, And those of you that haven't watched the movie, I suggest you go check it out. It's a pretty good flick. It shows you what's going down or what they plan on doing, because every time they get ready to do something, they have something called predictive programming, which they say that's a conspiracy theorist. But when you look when you look at these different movies, cartoons, and stuff, and things that they post in there, and then you look at what's the events that are happening 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, then you say, well, is it really a conspiracy theory or is it a conspiracy fact? The brother Yashalom from the New York camp sent me this video with a bunch of cartoons dating all the way back to 1978, all the way up into the 2000s. I think the last one was 2000. 1999, 80s, and all of that, different cartoons, Super Friends, all of that, and they show the destruction of the two front teeth of New York, which were those two high rises. All right, it's the TNT, the twin to the Tau to the words, just say it like that. And they show you how they were totally demolished in all of these different cartoons. And then eventually, what did they do? They did it. Now, in the movie A Long Kiss Goodnight, which I think I watched parts of that movie before, but I watched it not too long ago. And they did mention that, and then look what happened eventually. They brought those things down. So these are predictive programmings, but they're not going to tell you that, because they want to implement this new system. All right. Now, McDonald's to close stores. McDonald's had some system outages that happened to them worldwide because of so-called cyber attacks. So it says McDonald's stores hit by global IT failure. McDonald's forced to close stores around the world due to system failure. And this is going to cause problems because of a lot of people work at McDonald's. Why did McDonald's shut down? The company said the outage was caused by a third-party technology provider and was not a cybersecurity issue. It started around 12 a.m. CDT during a configuration change. It was closed close to being resolved about 12 hours later. But this is just a cover story, all right? But it was actually a trial run. And this is going to affect a lot of jobs because now every job out there or every company out there is on the grid. So this, gives, well, you got to watch out for this, you got to watch out for that. And that's one of the top, because I typed in, I forget what I typed in, but it says here top 10 cybersecurity threats in what, 2024. And when we scroll down here, it gives you the list of all 10 of them. We're going to go to Internet of Things, or IoT. Internet of Things, this is number 7. The P to the dem to the ick induced shift away from the office led over a quarter of the American workforce to bring their work into the home. And this is what they want, because this way they can control people better, especially with that device in their hand. Where 70% of households have at least one smart device, unsurprisingly, attacks on smart or Internet of Things IoT devices spiked as a result, with over 1.5 billion breaches occurring between January and June of 2021. Combined with the average American's less than stellar cyber hygiene habits, IoT connectivity opens a world of vulnerabilities for hackers. The average smart device is attacked within 5 minutes of connecting to the internet, and experts estimate that a smart home with a wide range of IoT devices may be targeted by as many as 12,000 hacking attempts in a single week. And this is why they pushed everything to be smart, smart meters, smart this, smart that, smart TV, smart, because that way they can control everything. See, back in the days, they didn't have the control that they have now, but they got the world in a stranglehold. Researchers predict that the number of smart devices ordered will double between 2021 and 2025. And they want to get things cracking by 2025. Lord's will be out here, this year, and maybe into the beginning of next year. But they're pushing fast because they have something called Agenda 20 to the 30. All right, and they want to have a lot of things implemented by 2025. So this year for them is going to be a year of pushing to get, everything popping by the end of the year. It says creating an even wider network of access. This is what they want to do. This is not a prediction that I'm making. This is something they want to do. Creating an even wider network of access points that can be used to breach personal and corporate systems. The number of cellular IoT connections is expected to reach 3.5 billion in 2023, and experts predict that over a quarter of all cyber attacks against businesses will be IoT based by 2025. And we see all this stuff happening right now. I actually put this web page on in the description box in case brothers want to read the rest of them. And what this is going to cause problem in, like I said, the densely populated areas, which are the cities. And the scriptures speak about the cities being attacked, the cities, falling apart, the cities, suffering trouble, because this is the main place where they want to get people. This is why you have these preppers and these different individuals that speak about the upcoming events that are coming. And they say you want to get out of the cities, you want to get out of New York, you want to get out of Chicago, you want to get out of California, because these cities, these major cities, are going to be the main ones on the target for these devils, because that's what they want, because that's the main hub that they set up. Because if you go to the country, people in the country are for the most part self-sustained in certain cases, but when you go to the cities, people are dependent on the infrastructure that's set up for them to operate and function on their daily life, which they don't have. That city life is different from country life. Country life, you have farms, you have people that know how to hunt, they know how to start a fire, they know how to create a shelter for themselves out there in the forest. They have farms where they produce vegetation. They have animals, they have hens and chickens and all that produce eggs, so on and so forth. They have their cows that produce milk. They're self-sustained that way. But in the cities, it's not so. So Isaiah chapter 33 and 1, the judgment of the Most High, this is what's coming. And this is why within this chapter it speaks about, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. Just bear with me 1 second. Excuse me. Isaiah 33 and 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled. This is for Esau. They're the ones that spoiled. They're the ones that took everything. And dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. And these devils have done that. They've spoiled. They've dealt treacherously. Now it's time for them to pay. And even though the international banking families are setting up these disasters and this anarchy and confusion in the world, it's the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai that's working on their minds to do this. When we go to Job, the 33rd chapter, the Lord says, matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Let's go to Job. So you can see for the newer members that are just, learning about this, the Heavenly Father Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai, they're in control of everything that you see going on. And they control people by way of these dreams and these instructions that they put into their minds while everyone is sleeping. Job 33:15 says, in a dream, in the vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed. This is when you're in your REM sleep. It says, then he openeth the ears of men, and the ears of men hear. It's not talking about the actual ears. It's talking about your mind. And sealeth their instruction. Right? Because every night when we go to sleep, the Lord seals our instructions as to what we are going to do the next day. That He may withdraw man from his purpose, right? Because if you have a purpose and it's not in line with the Lord's plans, then they will be changed. That's why you might have plans. You might try to do something that doesn't work out. Why? Because it wasn't in the Heavenly Father's plans. And hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. And pretty much the point here is that when men are sleeping, women also, the Lord seals their instructions. All right. Now, going back to Isaiah 33 and 1. So when you stop spoiling and you stop dealing treacherously, then they're going to deal treacherously with you. And you're going to get spoiled. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. All right. It says, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, be gracious unto us. Why? Because the times of trouble are coming. And we're hoping that the Lord shields us from the time of trouble, because we're doing what He said for us to do to the best of our ability. We have waited for thee, be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble, because this is what's coming. Time of trouble is coming. So we're asking the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to have mercy upon us and to protect us and to keep us from these things that are coming. And the way that we keep ourselves through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is by staying within the confines of the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and within the instructions that were given to us. Okay? He that abideth in the secret place of the Most High. It says, at the noise of the tumult, the people fled. Right? Because there's going to be something that's going to go down that's going to cause a tumult. It's going to cause a lot of disruption. It's going to cause people to panic. And one example of that you could watch footage all over YouTube, I'm pretty sure they still have the footage up, is when the towers were brought down, the horror that people had in fleeing away from those towers as they were coming down. And you could see the horror on their face. That wasn't a movie. That wasn't something that people were paid to do. That was actual footage of people in their horrified state, of when a city or a town is destroyed. Like scripture says, shall the trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? So this is what's coming. So whatever's going to happen next, the people are going to flee. It says the people fled. At the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered, right? Because the Lord is the one lifting up himself, and the people are going to be scattered. All right? There was something else that I was... Well, let's go real quick to 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Because that's what's coming. When these devils say peace and safety, because when they say peace and safety, what does that mean? That means that they have their new world order in place, and now they plan on ruling forever. Which that's when the Lord's going to bring them down. You could read Job, the 20th chapter for that, and to give you the whole blow-by-blow breakdown of when they are about to eat, the Lord shall cast a fury of his wrath upon them. Habakkuk 3:2, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, I have heard thy speech. Why? Because he actually saw it in a vision, and then eventually, in the future, he's going to be around to see what's going on in the world and see it actually taking place or come into life on the planet, and was afraid. O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, revive thy work in the midst of the years. And what is the Lord's work? The prophecies being fulfilled. The whole system of the MOTB being put into place. The shutdowns, the anarchy, the famines, the desperation of the people, the horrors, the destructions, whatever he saw in the vision, eventually it's all going to come to pass. But prophecy, time dictates prophecy. So when a certain period of time passes, then that's when the prophecy starts to speak. In the midst of the years, make known. Right, because the Lord is going to make it known. He's going to open up on these devils. And then when he opens up on these devils, this is what the prophet said, in wrath, remember mercy. Remember mercy upon us that are doing your work to the best of our ability. Remember us. So going back to Isaiah 33 and 4 now. And your spoil shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillars. As a running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them. Right, because when locusts get a hold of crops, they destroy it. So caterpillars, they'll destroy all the leaves, and and you'll see it. They'll come through and just ravage, all of the vegetation. So when the Lord sends his army, his locusts, his caterpillar, which are the missiles and the lasers from the chariots, there's not going to be nothing left on this land. Yahweh is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. Right, because you're going to have certain jakes that are going to be judged and certain jakes that are going to be delivered. And it's the Lord, that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that puts the spirit on the elect to be righteous and to do righteous things. Then it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Because when all these things start to happen, this truth that we've learned is what's going to keep us mentally stable in these times, because these times are going to be horrific, and they're going to really affect a lot of people around the world, but especially here in America, because you have to remember the people here in America have been living a comfortable lifestyle. They don't suffer like other nations, especially in third world countries. They're not used to seeing dead bodies in the streets. They're not used to going a day or 2 or 3 without food, without something to drink. So when something happens and you're not able to eat for 2 hours, 3 hours, you're going to start bugging out. Then 5 hours and 12 hours pass and a day pass, you're going to lose it. Because panic is going to set in. And when panic sets in and desperation sets in, all reason goes out the door. And people start attacking each other. People start destroying stuff because of the lack of bread. And the major places that are going to suffer the most are these cities, because people are dependent on that grid, that infrastructure, to be able to feed them and keep them, secure in their everyday life. It says, in strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is his treasure. Right? Because when these times of trouble come, this is what's going to keep us stable. Behold, their valiant ones shall cry without. Yeah, your military men, your boxers or whatever. Anybody that's a mighty man, beginning with the military. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly, right? Because when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. The highways lie waste, the wayfaring man ceaseth. He hath broken the covenant, he hath despised the cities. He regardeth no man. Yeah, because when chaos breaks out, people are not thinking about, all right, well, I got to respect my neighbor. I got to, keep my boundaries. No, it's going to be every man for themselves. What can you do to protect yourself? The earth mourneth and languishes. So the whole entire earth is going to be mourning and languishing, wasting away. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down, right? Those areas out there with all those trees, shit's going to happen, because the land of Israel is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction, and the lasers from the chariots also. Sharon is like a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, see? Because now is the time for the Lord to do work, to put in that work. Saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, now will I be exalted, now will I lift up myself, right? Because the Lord for a long time held back. He was patient. He was very calculative. He was looking. He was analyzing. He was plotting against this place, And then when he found the opening, which he didn't have to do that, but that's how he chose to do it. And when he found the opening, he threw in that check hook that took Esau out, which he wasn't expecting. Like when Floyd Mayweather threw the check hook and put Ricky Hatton down, and from that point, Ricky Hatton became Ricky Has-Been. Romans 9:22. What if the Most High willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? And this is why the Lord hasn't taken Esau out yet, because the Most High is being patient and suffering this devil. It says, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he hath prepared unto glory, which is Israel, but at this point, the elect. So it's going back, Isaiah 33:11. You shall conceive chaff. The word conceive is to bring forth, and chaff is refuse. So this place is going to be totally annihilated. You shall bring forth stubble. Same thing. Your breath as fire shall devour you. Right, because the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and the people shall be as the burning of lime. Yeah, because this particular destruction is going to be brought on by way of these nuclear missiles that the scientists, which are the modern day Smiths, creators of weaponry, have created. That's why when they dropped that atomic bomb, and Robert Oppenheimer was there, he said, he the first thought that came into his mind when he saw the devastation of that bomb was, something from the Bhagavad Gita, which is a Elamite or so-called East Indians book. And he said, I am become destroyer of worlds or something like that. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, because he saw that creation that they created was what was going to bring, so like it as a tongue twister, the end of the world for these devils. And even Einstein, who was alive at that time, he said, I don't know what weapons World War IV is going to be fought with, I'm sorry, World War III is going to be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones, because he knows that this capability, this nuclear capability, is going to bring everything back to what they call the Stone Age, back to the beginning. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. This is how ancient battles were fought. But this, meaning this war here, World War III, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. What's going to bring that burning and fuel of fire? Those missiles and the lasers from the chariots. So back in Isaiah 33 and 12, and the people shall be as the burnings of lime, as thorns cut up shall they be burnt in the fire. That's what the Lord is setting up. He's setting up this great sacrifice. Hear ye that are far off what I have done, and ye that are near acknowledge my might. Right, because the thing about the world is not acknowledging the Most High's might. You know, that's why they have that nonchalant attitude until the Lord brings hell upon them, and then they'll be like that Haitian woman that was crying because, you know, she was afraid because of the things that were happening. Now, prior to that, she probably was proud as hell, talking all kind of shit, being a super slut, you know, cursing men out, so on and so forth. But then when reality set in, you know, she was like, she realized that she's a woman and that she needs help. The sinners in Zion are afraid. See? Fearfulness have surprised the hypocrites. Why? Because this is going to creep up on people. It's going to creep up on them. You see these jive turkeys in the churches. This is going to really affect them. This is going to fuck them up, because this is not something that they're expecting, because their pastor did not tell them about this. He didn't warn them of these things that were coming. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? Right, because America's going to burn for a long time. He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that despiseth the gain of oppression, that shaketh his hands from holding of bribes, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing evil, he shall dwell on high, because the Lord is going to deliver the elect into the chariots. His place, which is going to be in the chariot of Yahushua, of defense, shall be the munitions of the rocks, because the Lord is going to have the elect all the way up into the chariot, which the prophet Ezra described as a mountain. Bread shall be given him, his water shall be sure. So in all of these calamities that are coming, the elect are going to be secure. They're going to be given bread, they're going to be given water, they're going to be straight. That's why it says, my servant shall eat, my servant shall drink, my servant shall joy. You know, for joyfulness of heart. Thine eyes shall see the king in his beauty, because Yahushua is coming back. Behold, he cometh with the clouds, and all eyes shall see him. Because when he comes back, he's coming back to be crowned and to take down all of the crowns of these different nations. So he's going to be given the credit for taking these nations down. Because he's coming back for, you know, that's going to be his coronation. This destruction that's coming, that's going to be the coronation of Yahushua. You know, like a king, when he has a son, or when the king dies and they get ready to crown the new prince, you know, make him a king. They have this big, you know, ordeal, you know, this big, you know, celebration. And then, you know, you have all the, you know, the flowers and, you know, and the people there lauding and cheering, the music playing. Well, the destruction is going to be Yahushua's coronation to take over the throne. It says, thine eyes shall see the king in his beauty, they shall behold the land that is very far off, right? Because eventually America is going to be totally destroyed. And it's going to be left as a monument of what it is to be wicked and the payment for being wicked. Then it says, because, you know, thine heart shall meditate terror. In the kingdom, we're going to meditate terror on these devils. So that's why we're going to be able to find new and creative ways to make them pay for what they did to us. You know, because there's certain things we're not going to be doing. You know, we're not going to be buck breaking Esau. We're not going to be raping their wife, you know, because that's, you know, that's against the law. That's adultery. That's, you know, we're not buck breaking, that's sodomy, you know, and all of that different, you know, all of them things that he did, we're not going to do, but we're going to find new and creative ways to make them pay for what they did. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? He ain't gonna be nowhere because America is gonna be totally destroyed. There's a precept, I believe that might be in either Malachi, where it speaks about there shall not be a potsherd to warm at, or something like that, a coal to warm at, something like that. The people shall labor for mere vanity or something like that, because there's not going to be anything here. Thou shalt not see a fierce people, right? Esau, the other nations, a people of a deeper speech than thou canst perceive, of a stammering tongue that thou canst not understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation. Yeah, because the Lord is going to make everything, going to set everything back the way it's supposed to be. Let's go real quick to Isaiah. Yeah, the book of Isaiah has a lot of nuggets, man. A lot of nuggets. Isaiah chapter 60 and 17. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones onyx. So for these lesser metals, and stones, the Lord is going to bring precious metals. All right? And other metals that are of value. I will also make thy officers peace, because everything's going to be peaceful in the kingdom. There ain't going to be no disruption. Call the angelic, police squad, because something broke out in sector so-and-so. Ain't going to be none of that shit. Ain't going to be no uprisings. These Edomites are not going to, after they serve their captivity, not going to get the upper hand again and take the kingdom back. That's total bullshit. Those are fables that were taught by these false prophets. And thine exactors, righteousness. So everything is going to be in righteousness. So going back to Isaiah 30 and 20, look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. The tabernacles of David will not be taken down. So I don't know what the hell Bishop Nathaniel is reading to where he doesn't understand that the kingdom is not going to be taken down once it's established. Because if you take the kingdom down, that means Yahweh Shai got to go back down. Because it's his kingdom. So how in the hell are you going to take his kingdom from him? But this is what happens when you sell out. And this is what happens when you sever yourself from the vine, from the root, which is Yahweh Shai. Now, one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed. Right, so nothing. What is a stake? That represents your home. Your land, your plotted land. It's not going to be removed. Neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. Right, it ain't going to be moved. It ain't going to be, the Esau ain't going to get shit. But a foot up his ass. But there the glorious power, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams. We're gonna live good. Wherein shall go no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ships pass thereby, because nothing is going to be able to ever remove the Israelites out of power. Because if that was the case, they would have to remove the Mosai and Yahushai. For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is our judge. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is our lawgiver. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is our king. He will save us. And once he saves us, it's going to be an everlasting kingdom. Thy tacklings are loose, meaning Esau, he's going to be removed. They could not well strengthen their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great spoil divided. The lame take the prey, right? And we be the lame. We're going to take the prey. We're the outcasts. We're going to get all of those goodies. Everything's going to be transferred back to us. That's why when you read Isaiah 60, it says you shall suck the breasts of the Gentiles, meaning that their riches are going to be transferred over to us. And the inhabitants shall not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity. Right? No more sickness, no more wickedness among Israel. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity, because all Israel shall be saved eventually. It says that the deliverer shall come to Zion and shall remove all transgressions. So how is there going to be any wrongdoing in Israel? So let's see what else we got. Isaiah 14 and 16, they that see thee shall not really look upon thee. This is when Esau goes down and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? And this is what proves that Lucifer in the 12th verse is not talking about the actual, it's not talking about a spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about the so-called Illuminati or light bearers of this society, the international banking families. It says that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, and they've done that. They dropped bombs, they caused all kind of havoc and ruckus and chaos among the people, had them fighting each other. While meanwhile in the background they're taking all of the resources. That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, because you're the one that destroyed these cities. That opened not the house of the prisoners. All right, and you didn't let Israel know that they were Israelites. Isaiah 4, I'm sorry, 2nd Ezra 14, I'm sorry, 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. It's going to be race wars, different riots, class wars, civil war, so on and so forth. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Why? Because everything is going to be total chaos out here, anarchy. So everyone's going to do what they think is right to protect themselves and their families. Salakia. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. See? So total desperation is going to bring total collapse of society, because people, when they're in a desperate mind state, or like Gerald Salente said, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. And the American people ain't got no patience. Like when these big Shirleys and these big obese Jakes go through a drive-through, and they have to wait an extra 30 seconds for their meal, they lose it. They start climbing in through the trying to climb in through the takeout window. They start throwing shit, trying to fight the people. Or if you mess up their order, which when you mess up somebody's order, they get mad. But this garbage that they eating. But if you mess up their order, oh my God. They bring the fury of hell down upon you. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, time of Jacob's trouble. So this is going to cause a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. It's going to be bad. You could read this here. I'm just going to read the 17th verse. 2nd Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right, because it's giving you a list of everything that's going to come when you read this whole thing down. And one of the things that's coming is, it says that there shall be like madmen sparing none. There's going to be civil wars, class wars, and there's going to also be race wars. And that's what's going to cause, a disruption in the affairs of these different cities. And that's why the majority of these cities is what's going to, suffer. That's what we read in right here, April 8th, 2024, solar eclipse school closings. It says here, this upcoming eclipse will be visible from Mexico, the U.S., and Canada to an estimated 31.6 million people, and will cover more densely populated areas. And that's why they're sending and they already have the National Guard. They are sending the National Guard to these different places. You already see there in New York. Here it is. The National Guard is in New York, but then you had that train shooting. Because somebody sent me a video. This one individual was saying, yeah, they're posted up at the entrances of these places, but they're not patrolling the subways. So the subways are still vulnerable. You know, and if they have the National Guard there, how the hell did this individual get a gun, you know, on that train? And how did somebody else get a knife on the train? So on and so forth. Show you it's all bullshit. They're there so when they declare martial law, they could already be in place. They've already been trained on how to deal with urban areas, you know, the cities, how to, because they train in those different events. You know, you seen years ago, I believe it was down in Florida, they had the, I don't know if it was the National Guard or what it was, they were doing night patrols in the cities. Everything is in place. That's why Elder Pastor coined 2024 as a hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. All right, so pretty much, you know, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Just stay prayed up, keep on fighting, you know, keep on doing what you've been doing. Fulfill your lot to the best of your ability, and watch this whole shithole goes down, and watch what the Lord is going to do to protect the elect in these days. Some type of divine intervention is coming, you know, to where the elect are going to be safe, not going to be suffering from, you know, the things that are happening. Now, you will have a handful that will suffer death and will suffer certain things, all for the glory of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but for the most part, the elect are going to be safe. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.